You know the funny thing is about gaming or like this channel is that I am a gamer, and the one thing I really, really, rarely talk about is gaming. I think the last thing I've talked about when it comes to gaming is that Clementine is the best female protagonist of all time. It's one of the greatest female protagonists of all time, and I don't really talk about that. But here, I wanted to talk about something that I feel like it gets on my nerves all the time, and that's buffing and nerfing a character. So, with that being said, let's pop this video up. Here's this video. This video right here is about something that I always talk about, and this is a very, very, very hot take, and is the buffing and nerfing the characters. I feel like sometimes as modern gaming, we rely too much on buffing and nerfing a character, and instead of people just figuring out how to work around it, you just want things buffed and nerfed. And some of the games that suffers from it most is games like Marvel Rivals, or Marvel Rivals, Street Fighter, Tekken, and maybe a couple other games. Apex Legends, that one kind of like got on my nerves, but this is what I mean. I'm gonna just play this video and then we're gonna get to what I mean.
Sue and Gambit because they were so OP, and then they get nerfed for season 6. But what these crybaby DPS players don't get is the more that you nerf the strategist healing output, the longer we're going to stay in a triple support meta. So instead of changing heroes like Mantis and Adam to be able to work in a dual support comp, their kits stay mid and either never get played or they only work in triple support. So now what you guys have to deal with is an overworked Cloak and Dagger kit. I've been averaging between 50k and 70,000 healing on Cloak and Dagger since her buff. And because of that, Cloak and Dagger is a necessity on every single comp team. So if you have a bad Cloak and Dagger, your team is going to default to triple support. I've always said that the dumbest nerfs in a game like this is nerfing a healer's healing output. Why? And then they buff a healer to the point where if you don't have one on your team, it's like an automatic loss. So why doesn't everyone just stop fucking crying and learn how to play the game like a team, heal for your backline, and then the support role won't be all over the place like this? I don't know about you guys, but this is the most unstable the strategist role has felt since the game came out. Let me know what you think in the comments, and as always, happy gaming, assholes!
And to think about it, like Overwatch had an original problem where it was just like the shield meta. See, that one is understandable. Like the shield, I don't know what's worse, the shield, the double, triple shield meta, or the roll Q, which they had to put a roll Q in the game, and it went from like 6 to 5 to that's how they fixed their shit to Marvel Rivals and the triple support meta, in which the triple support meta doesn't bother me, but I understand why it is annoying. Maybe because I play all three. I just had to learn how to play all three, and sometimes, sometimes a doubles, and I play Mantis, and I guess I'm probably the reason, because sometimes a lot of people feel like they're not getting the heals, they'll go into a healer, which but I get at least 10k heals. I play quick play, so I stay away from comping there. So that's another thing. But it doesn't refute to the point to where at one point season 0 Mantis was, people thought that she was fucking OP, to the point where now you nerf that you kind of like gotta use her in a triple meta, and the people's just like, oh, she's not good at dual healing. But first of all, you don't really know how to use it, and it's usually a DPS crying, because a DPS likes to go in there and likes to feel invincible, and then doesn't know how to fucking position well. So it's always a DPS that doesn't know how to fucking position, or doesn't know when to fucking back the fuck up. It's like you're fucking dying yet. And I've done this too. You're fucking dying, and yet you're still trying to eat that last kill out. It's just like, no, motherfucker, you need to back up. You need to regroup. again, but this is games like this where I said like buffing. The worst thing that could have gone to, and this is my unpopular opinion, the worst thing that could happen to modern gaming is buffing and nerfing. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some times where you need to nerf something. Leroy from Tekken 7. I understand that. That's the one thing, even though I loved him being OP, I understood that motherfucker needed to be nerfed. I wish they'd have nerfed him after Black History Month, but I understood that motherfucker needed to be nerfed. But again, it's just like with some of these people, they don't know how to nerf, and that's another problem because they'll either over buff a character to where it's just like, this motherfucker, he went from this not good to OP, or they just don't touch him they just touch him too much, and then they fucking break the character. They nerf him to the fucking ground to where the character is useless. Apex Legends had a lot of that, and that shit used to bug me a lot. I used to be, especially on Apex, I used to be a Lifeline main, and I always said Lifeline is fine. Lifeline does not need a rework. Please do not rework Lifeline, because they did that with Revenant. I thought Revenant was fine. I still prefer the old Revenant over, this lunging ass Revenant, because you know why? He said they're going to give him something so OP that you're going to ask for a nerf, and that's what the fuck they did. I did not have a problem with his ultimate, where it's just like, I think they improved it with the nerf, where it's just like, okay, you don't, once you get hit or once you go back to your totem. I didn't have a problem with that. The whole totem thing, I did not have a problem with that. I actually thought it was pretty cool, but I also thought it was pretty smart. But I think motherfuckers was just putting it out in the middle and say, oh wow, this shit is useless. It's like, why would you put this shit out in the fucking middle? To where people could see and shoot at it. And if you come back. Now, the only problem with that was when you came back with fucking little health. I think that was dumb, and it was just like, so when they improved it, it's like you get half your health back. I thought that was kind of cool, but it was just like, but when they reworked Revenant, I wasn't loving that. I know like people like him now because because Apex Legends is a very mobile game, but also Crypto. There was a time Crypto was OP, and it was when he could turn invisible, and I was the main one saying, this is not gonna last. And I'm a Crypto main. I was never asking for the buff Crypto because, again, I think characters are fine. I just think because of their kit, some people are going to get played more than others. And I come from a fighting game where it's just like, people just going to pick Ken over Lily. By the way, I'm a Lily main. And it's just like, so people think that this character needs more work because I was like, no. I said, it's just a different of styles. Most people just like the flashiness of an Octane over, I'm sitting in a drone with Crypto. And you got to be very tactical. And people say this all the time. I say, if you're going to play Crypto, you got to be tactical. You're not going to be running around the shit like you fucking Octane. But now, Crypto, like, if you in your PM, you get a boost to where you can speed into the jump. Like, Crypto has always been like tactical. And then now a lot of people get out of jail free shit, like Wraith. I know Wraith has been like, always been a character that's been ups and downs. Bangalore has always been the character that's been the same, to where it's just like, people's just like, why don't y'all touch Bangalore? And I used to say, because Bangalore is fine. Bangalore is fine. Some people that they don't get buffs at all, it's because they're fine. They don't need it. They're good at where they're at. And then you don't want them to get buffed, because if they get buffed, they're going to be OP. But if you nerf them, they're going to get left behind. Some people just find it the way they at. Bangalore was like that. That's why people used to ask for Bangalore buffs. It's like, no, Bangalore is fine. And then we get to Street Fighter. And the funny thing why I say nerfing and buffing is the worst thing to happen, because I come from Third Strike. And if you understand Third Strike is broken as fuck. And anybody that has played Third Strike know that it's broken as fuck. Chun and Young run the fucking game, but it's because of the parry system and it's because of the parry system. Anybody that actually knows how to play a character have a chance. That's why the Evo moment with Hayao and Ken, because Ken is like the third best player. That's why things like that can happen, where a Hugo specialist could still make top 8 in Evo, and actually top 2, actually, because he was in the grand finals. Because he knows how to play Hugo to where it's fucking scary. I remember seeing that for the first time, and I was like, oh shit. I already knew who was going to be in there. I was like, it was going to be Hayao and MOV. And that's exactly what the top 2 was. Hayao and MOV. But Street Fighter, like, people talk about third strike so much where it's just like, there's been talks about, like, okay, what would I do if I did balance Street Fighter third strike? People looked at that, especially people that play third strike, it was like, there's no need. We don't adjust it. I know how to play now. Like, we know what the fuck to do. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I know a lot of people, when it came to Street Fighter 6, they was like, damn, they wasn't going to touch it for like a year. And I agreed with that. And the only reason I agree with it, because at one point, Manon was looked at as the best character. And then people figured out Manon. And then now Manon was just like bottom 5 or something like that. To where, okay, JP was OP, but there's ways to know how to get through JP. Ken was so good that they tried to downplay Ken so he doesn't get touched. And that's because they were scared of him getting nerfed. And now you know what they did? They buffed the fuck out of Ryu, and then they added Akuma. So now Ken is third best now. So the game has so many changes, and I already talked about how the reason why Street Fighter 6 is so boring now, because the game is good. And that's the other problem, is just like, where everything's so balanced, people is just like, they're going to get bored. So I feel like the game being broken makes it a little bit more fun, because when you balance a game where everybody is good, like Street Fighter 6, people get bored. Now, understandable, people been like, that game's out for like, what, 3 years now? But look at Third Strike. And again, look at Third Strike. That game's been out since the 90s. It's still playing. But you know why? Because no game feels the same. No game feels the same. Yes, Chun and Yun are still top 2, but no game feels the same, where I see more people play, and it's just like, oh, you thinking this Gurion is going to destroy this Q, but you don't know this is Kuroda Q. So this Q is going to demolish this fucking Gurion, because Kuroda is one of the best Third Strike players of all time. And if you see Kuroda with Q, you better watch out. To where it's just like, and I've seen him destroy, and I've seen Kuroda's Q destroy a bunch of people, especially the Chun and Yuns. Look up Kuroda. Just look up Kuroda and Third Strike, and you'll understand what I'm talking about for those. But overall, I just, this is going to be the most unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people are going to talk about how good Nerfing is, but I don't play League of Legends. Maybe it works in something like League of Legends. I don't play League of Legends, but I know that thing is nerfed every week too. It's just to a point where it's just like, what are you adjusting? What are things adjusted? Why do you need to weekly adjust them? It's just like, let the game be the game. Let the game breathe sometimes. Sometimes I feel like, and maybe this is just me, I'm like, let the game breathe. I want you to figure out, because we didn't have all this buff and nerfing back then. We had to figure it out. Okay, is this person OP? Okay, what can I do to stop that? Oh, maybe I should do this. And that's the last one. I feel like it makes gamers lazy, because now people's just like, oh, these are buffs. These are, I can't do it. Instead of just trying to adjust, you're just like, oh, we're just going to complain to developers until, again, I understand when things are too OP wearing these nerfs, like I said, Leroy from Tekken 7, because if he didn't, I understood like that was going to kill the game, because it was just like, at a top 8, there's 6 Leroys. That's a problem. I understood that, but there was not no 6 JP. I don't know. The season 1 of Street Fighter 6, it was like JP, Ken, and Luke. It was like that's all it really was. You had your block of a minute RD, but it's mostly JP Ken, Luke. It was JP Ken, Luke, and Cammy, and that's all that you saw during season 1. It's like JP Ken, Luke, and Cammy, and I think that was kind of a problem in itself. It's just like, but I don't know. I feel like if you're going to buff and nerf, it's got to be something that is just like unbearable. To where it's unbearable, but not where it's just like, oh, you can get away with this. It's just, okay, it's OP, but I can get around this. And that's what I feel about Third Strike. It's just like, yes, Chun-Li will always be the best player, but it was just like, people was just like, I can get around this. Therefore, Evo Mother 37, Daigo parrying Chun-Li. It's just like, I can get around it. And plus, like, not only, like, I tell people all the time, if you still need skill. I don't know. I feel like skill still matters over just playing them. Because I done destroyed plenty of people that tried to teal whore. Especially in like Marvel 2. When they'll choose an MSP. And I don't really have a solid team to go against MSP, and I'm still beating them. So I feel like that's skill. And to me, Justin Wong, and I don't know, this is counterproductive to me. Justin Wong proves that all the fucking time. Where, like, he'll take a random squad and still beat your fucking MSPs and your top tiers. Now, you could say, well, that's Justin Wong, but that also shows you, like, a dedication put in the game to where it's just like, I'm so good that I can beat you with a regular team and it will crush your main. I feel like people underestimate that too. But it's just like, that's having good fundamentals in your game that will take you very far in whatever games you in, to where you can play as anybody and dominate. I like those. Instead of just like waiting for the developers to nerf this character. But that's just me. Let me know what y'all think. Till then, my name is Skinofly, and how about peace?